Hi, everyone. It is Lisa Danforth, and I am here with the wonderful Julia Scott from J. Scott Marketing. Hey, Julia.
Hey, Lisa, I'm so glad to be here with you
I'm
today.
excited to have you back. This is the second time Julia has been on.
Yes.
You rocked it the first time. Got lots of comments, so I just thought, you know what? Let's bring you back because you are definitely an expert in your field.
Oh,
Today, we're talking about blogging, show, don't tell, which I love how succinct that is, and it really, for me, creates that curiosity because I want to learn more about that. But before we jump in, two things. If you are watching this live or if you're watching it on the replay, if you will pop into the chat box is over here on my side, where you're dialing in from, would absolutely love to hear that. And then also, I'm going to read a little bit about Julia and just share her brilliance and experience with you so that you know why she's on here talking about what she is talking about. So, Julia Scott from J. Scott Marketing worked for 6 years as a newspaper reporter, including a stint at the Star Ledger, where she contributed to a Pulitzer Prize. I want to talk more about that too, Julia. And then later, Julia started a website to help people save money that became a national brand, featured in the Wall Street Journal, Good Morning America, and the NPR, and dozens more national media outlets. Through these adventures, Julia discovered and mastered many of the marketing and communication solutions that she and her fabulous team now provide for their clients. And when Julia is not taking charge for her clients, she loves to be in the woods, grow some of her own food, not all of it, some of it, and wake up early. I'm with you on the early one. Growing the food, not so much. But Julia, thank you so much. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm so happy to be here with you all.
I want to jump in with talk a little bit more about this Pulitzer Prize. I mean, talk about experience on writing. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to tell you about that story. So I was a reporter at the New Jersey Star Ledger, and back in 2005, James E. McGreevey was governor. And we had heard in the newsroom that there was like a really big press conference coming up, and everybody, even I was in a bureau, so not in the main office, but a smaller satellite office, everybody was tuning into the press conference. And there was definitely a sense that there was something bigger going on than we all knew about. And during that press conference, James E. McGreevey was the first sitting governor to come out as a gay American. You may remember the words, "My truth is that I am a gay American." It was a huge, momentous thing back there. It's kind of crazy how much our society has evolved in terms of gay equality and marriage equality. But back then, it was a really big deal. And so the entire newsroom geared up. It was like this amazing machine. And we put out what was called a sked, which was the schedule of all the stories for the next day. And we could read this, and it was just like there was the breaking news, but there was also the analysis. What does this mean? The history, all these different things. And so I was just one of maybe more than 100 reporters contributing to this story. And my goal, or in the newsroom, and my assignment was to go stake out McGreevey's new apartment where he was going to be leaving, because they were not going to be living in the governor's mansion for much longer. And hopefully that McGreevey would come home and I would get to ask him, like, what's going on? So I waited. It was me and a photographer from the New York Post, waited for several hours. And my tip, if you're going to do a stakeout, is to always go to the bathroom first. I learned the hard way. It was pretty uncomfortable few hours. And he didn't come home, but I did do a little reporting, and I talked my way into the apartment building where McGreevey was going to be living, and got to see the empty apartment that was like right above his, and it had the same layout and everything. And I sent a few lines into my editor, and it became part of a larger story. And so I contributed a very small part to that prize. But I do keep this little memento around in my desk. So this was the front page story. McGreevey quits, admits gay affair. And there's him and his wife, I believe her name is Dina, who's like in shock. This press conference going through this process of coming out as a gay American. So it was a really incredible experience. And I still get chills and tingles when I think about being part of this newsroom that just like was this amazing monster that roared to life and put out this incredible paper the next day. And for several weeks, really, it was a huge story that dominated the paper and the state for a while. So that's my little story about contributing a small part to a Pulitzer Prize.
Congratulations. Congratulations. I want to celebrate that those stories that come out are still big stories, right? But they're not quite as shocking, which I just think we have come so far on that. So thank you for sharing that. That had to have been amazingly exciting, like just wild.
It was. Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
So let's jump into the blog, Show, don't tell. Blogging, show, don't tell. Can you talk
Yeah.
a little bit more about that? Show something, don't tell. Just introduce us to that a little bit further.
Yeah. So just to get you kind of more interested in this idea of blogging as a way to showcase your brand, according to Demand Gen Report, 71% of B2B audiences read blogs when they're on their buying journey, right? So the buying journey is when you're researching, you haven't quite made a decision what or who you're going to buy from, but you're gathering information, right? Another stat, OptiMonster shares that companies who blog get 97% more website clicks. So blogging,
Whoa.
yeah,
Repeat that, would you please?
it's powerful. Yeah. So OmniMonster shares that companies who blog get 97% more website clicks, right? So you might be thinking like, that's not possible. How is that possible? It's because blogging drives traffic. It helps people discover your business before they've made a decision about what to purchase, right? So this is like early in the buying journey when customers are doing all that Googling, and you have an opportunity as a company, as a brand, to position yourself as a resource. You can provide them answers to some of the questions that they're Googling and trying to discover. You can help them do like pros and cons. Like you'll see articles a lot like, should I get Nimble CRM or Pipedrive or less crappy CRM? Right? So if Pipedrive was smart or another CRM was smart, they might actually talk about comparing their competitors because they know when people are trying to discover and make a decision and doing that research, they're often doing these searches that are like, what's a better CRM than Pipedrive? Or Pipedrive versus Nimble, what CRM is the best for me? So if you are actually creating content, even if it mentions your competitors' names, you may be able to capture some of that website traffic when those customers are just starting to search.
So you can do that. You claim your expertise and show the people that you've got the answers, right?
Yes. And it's really important to think of yourself as not selling them at this stage, but really being helpful, right? So you want to show them that you can solve their problem with ease. And you also get to give them a sneak peek of the value that you have to offer. So you don't want to give too much away. This is not about creating content that's like how to become a social media expert. No. You don't want to teach your clients that. And frankly, you can't in one blog post. That would be insane. What you really want to do is try to get them to understand the value of this piece of marketing or this service that you're offering or this product that you're selling, and help them work through any hesitations they might have, whether that's around the value or the features or the capabilities or, all of the concerns we have before we make a purchasing decision. So you really want to find that sweet spot between outlining concepts and emphasizing the value of signing on with you. So one of our clients, Atelier LKS, is a graphic designer, visual designer. She creates logos and websites, and she creates some really great blog content with our help. And I'll see if I can post a link in the chat or in the LinkedIn earlier about the benefits of an email marketing template, right? Which is something she can design for you. But in the post, she's really educating her clients about the value of having an email marketing template. But her tone is very friendly and she becomes very relatable as a design partner, but there's no sales pitch, right? It's really just to capture that traffic. But the amazing thing about blogging to capture this discovery traffic, right? To capture your customers' interest when they're still trying to discover which product or purchase or company they should be working with, is that you're getting clients already on your website, right? So you're making it easy for them to learn more about who you are, about what you offer. And this is really kind of like a side pitch for having a really great website, because once you do the work of getting people on your website, you really want it to be very user-friendly. So make sure that your website is performing well for you.
Please. When I go to a website that just it's so hard to maneuver, I bounce right off.
Oh, yeah.
And what I really heard you say was less is more, right? Keep it succinct, keep it simple, really tangible, and then invite the people along the journey. I just want to give a shout out to the lovely Leora Dowling, who has also been a guest on my LinkedIn Live. She said, wow, these numbers are strong evidence. They absolutely are. And it's making me realize I really probably should start blogging again.
You probably should. Yeah. Yeah.
So can you share a little more information? Like, how does someone get started? And, what is it that they need to be focusing on?
Yeah, that's a great place. People ask us all the time, like, well, so what are we gonna like? How do we start this? Well, first of all, you need a website that has a blog that you can publish. That's super easy on most websites.
Mhm.
And you want to think strategically about the content that you're going to publish. So, are you able to conduct any keyword research to find out, well, what are the terms that people are Googling anyways to discover this kind of service or product that I offer? So, you probably want to do some keyword research. And we can talk a little bit more about SEO because if you're doing the work of creating these blog posts, which, it's not easy, it takes several hours to create a really high quality, long enough blog post to get noticed by Google.
I want
You
to
really,
say thank
Mhm.
you. I'm just going to interrupt. Thank you for saying that because I always think it takes me about 8 hours from start to finish. And I'm like, I'm just
Oh,
not
wow.
doing it right. So for you to say
Yeah.
that, it makes me realize that I'm not so far out of the realm. So thank you for alleviating that.
Yeah, it does. It does take time. 8 hours is a good amount of time. So hopefully you can, be strategic about it and maybe get that time down because that is a big time commitment. So you want to think about SEO. You want to do some keyword research so that you're really pinpointing what terms people are asking. It's
Mm.
probably not what you think, right? Because your perspective is very different from your customer's perspective. They really, you need to do the work of understanding what problems they're trying to solve and help them do that. So we have some tips for boosting your SEO of your blog post. So we can paste that into the chat as a resource as well later on. But you want to get organized. We're really big on organizing and planning at J Scott Marketing. So we love Excel for a spreadsheet. You don't need anything super fancy. And just think about what are the topics. Maybe your goal is to blog once a month. That's really kind of a minimum. Google wants to see you updating your website minimum once a month. If you can do it once a week, that's even better, but that's a lot to ask. So you also want to think about what is something that I'm an expert in? What resources can I share and talk about the value? Again, you're not trying to explain how to do your job. Definitely don't want to do that. You want to talk about the benefits of having this product or service, of having this partnership, right? Think about putting those keywords in there, and you want to think about length. You really want a good mix, but like generally at least 600 words. If you can do a minimum of 800 or even 1,000 words, that's great. Don't want to stuff fluff in there, but do want to think about really being a significant resource, right? It's also okay to have some blog posts be a little bit shorter. Maybe one is like 500 words, but then next month you have like 1,500 words. You really bust out with that. So think about how you can be a resource. Think about one way to get started blogging if you're like, oh my God, Lisa, I have no clue. What do we blog about? What are the most common questions prospective clients ask you? Start there. Each question could be one blog post because, right, those are the things that they're probably Googling about. They may be trying to get those answers before they even pick up the phone and take the time to make an appointment with you. So if you can proactively answer their questions, you're going to be getting that web traffic. And they're like, oh, I'm already getting to know this company through their blog content. It's well written. There's a copy editor, so there's no typos, of course. And this is really helpful. Like, this is great information for me. So you're already getting your toe in the door by answering those basic questions. If you work through those, maybe 10 basic questions you get very often, then you could think about, what are the questions I wish my clients were asking? Right? So think about, I wish that they would ask this because then I wouldn't necessarily have to tell them. So maybe it's about, well, how does the working relationship work? Like, are you in person? Are you Zoom? Like, what tools do I use? A lot of times, clients have these questions about, well, what is it actually like to work with you? How do we manage the project? Are you going to be doing this? Am I going to be doing this? And given that people work so differently, it's an opportunity to set those expectations and show the value of how you do it, right? We're all virtual because it's very efficient and it keeps our prices competitive. Or we're in person because we just love those in-person connections that we can make, and it really deepens a relationship. Probably, however you are running your business, you can think about the benefits of doing it the way you do it. And creating content around those types of questions, those dynamics, is really an opportunity to sort of advance the message and be proactive and control the message a little bit. Set your customers' expectations for why the way you do it is a really awesome way to work.
I love that. Really making it your own and being able to come at it from your prospective client's perspective as well. So Liara says, what if they ask, what are your rates? Number one question.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah.
question.
I was going to say, it's a hard one, Leora.
Yeah. So thanks for the hard questions, Leora. I'm glad you're paying attention. So the way I do it, so we run a marketing agency, we're a digital marketing agency, and we tend not to talk about price. So we did some sales training and our sales coach said, don't talk about price, but we do have questions to qualify our prospective customers. So what we do is we first have some time on our, what we call exploratory call, where we're talking about what's really important about this project. Is it the timeline? Is it what the goal? Is it something that's going to happen? Is it teamwork? There's a lot of different things that are important, and we really get a sense of what's important to the client and the scope of the work. And then, if we feel like it's going to be a good match, and we're interested in pursuing this client, eventually we ask some information about their company, and we ask about which revenue streams they're really interested in building, their breakdown of their current revenue streams, so we get a real big overview of their company. And then we ask them, what are your annual sales? And we know that if our clients or a prospective client has about $500,000 or less in sales, they may not be a good fit for us because our ideal client invests between $2,000 and $6,000 a month in their marketing. And so if their sales are less than $500,000, we are going to be such a massive line item that is going to be seriously stressful for them. So if they have, if their company is just getting started, or they're just a smaller lifestyle business, then we tell them, we have a frank conversation, is your marketing budget closer to $500 a month, closer to $5,000 a month? There are ways that we can work with smaller companies through hourly training or some one-time strategic work. And we're happy to offer those services. We want to be supportive of the small business community, and, marketing is a key to that growth. And these may become really awesome clients later on. So when we're getting back to your question, Leora, when we're in that conversation where we're exploring how things are going, we're already getting some information about them about their budget. And then we also ask, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. What's the question we ask? Oh, we say, budget is always important to our clients. And literally, I have had this many exploratory calls with future clients where they don't talk about budget. So we proactively bring it up. We don't wait for them to oh my God, when's it going to come? We say, hey, budget is always important to us, and our success is your success. And so we know that we need to relentlessly prioritize what marketing projects we may take on to fit with your budget. So let's put that aside for now and focus on the scope of work and what needs to happen in order to meet these goals of yours, right? Because we already understand their goals at that point.
And really connecting to the transformation first, right? Which we can do through blogging. So we can tell the story, we can claim our expertise, get it out there, and really get them interested in the transformation to bring them into that conversation, which again is that journey, which is exactly what we're talking about, and the importance of having that blog, which will invite them in. Yeah. So when Taylor says, love this, what should they ask? I can answer.
What should they ask? Meaning, what should the client ask?
I don't know. She said, what are the rates, Leora? Can you clarify this, please? So love this. What should they ask? So you can answer that. So again, just taking it to the transformation, giving little snippets, which is what I so appreciate you saying that, because I think we try to fit so much into a blog and then they walk away with very little. So keep it succinct, keep it clean, connect to your expertise in the transformation. And that invites them into more of a conversation with you.
Yes. And you can also, I think I touched upon this a little bit, but I just want to revisit this idea of, you can also work through any concerns that your prospects might have. Like, say there's a concern that you're just like, oh my God, every client is asking me about this. So that's obviously something that's really important to your prospective client. So if you can create content that helps your customers move through those blocks and those hesitations that they might have about your brand or your industry or the project or the results, then you're going to really support your sales team, right? Mm-hmm. Because if they've read that piece of content before you speak, or as this is an awesome way to use blogging, is after the sales call, you say, hey, I know you're concerned about this thing, or we talked about this dynamic of our working relationship, or whatever it is. We've written an article because this is so important to us. I want to send you this article because I think it's really going to help you understand this dynamic in our relationship. So you're showing them that you are so thoughtful about how they are coming to this relationship and the problems that you might be able to solve for them, that you've actually created an article about it. It goes a long way towards building trust, positioning yourself as somebody who's trustworthy and who really goes that extra mile to make sure that they're comfortable and they're understanding and that their needs are taken care of. So that's a great way to use blog posts, and not just to discover those new clients and that new business, but to really help your sales team, maybe that's you, move through with those prospective clients.
So Lyra said she thought that what you said was, what should they ask, was a wonderful way to decide on a topic.
Yes. So what do you want your clients to be asking about? Like, what do I look for in a marketing agency? Oh, well, let me tell you, right?
I got the answer for you.
Yes, exactly. I hope that answers your question, Leora, but feel free to type in something if it didn't quite answer your question. Lisa, I know we're sort of getting towards the end of our time. I'm wondering if we could maybe go over some key takeaways.
Absolutely. But we've got about 10 more minutes. So
great. Okay.
Can you talk a little bit more about, I mean, do you have the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Can you talk a little bit about tone?
Yes, let's talk about tone. So you want to be helpful, not salesy, right? Because you're already getting your customers on your website. That's really your goal. You're not trying to sell them. It's too early in the process for you to sell somebody already. You're just trying to get them on your webpage by answering that question. So show them that you are a resource to them, that you're an expert, that you really know and have the answers that they're looking for. And you don't want to give too much away, and it shouldn't be a hard pitch. So when you think about blog posts, you might think about, well, what do I want my users, my readers to do after they read this blog post or after they've scanned it, right? So you can think about, do you want them to read another blog post? Do you want them to reach out and contact you? Do you want them to join the conversation on Instagram? Think about where they might be like, hey, yeah, why don't you just hire us? That'd be great. But is that realistic? They probably need a little more time to get to know you, to warm up, to feel comfortable, to really start trusting you. So there's this concept that I learned from a client, actually, Michael Lee, from Reconciled in Burlington, Vermont, of bridging the trust gap, right? Mm-hmm. So when you meet a new prospective client, or really anybody, you may not trust them, right? Maybe you do if your friend introduced you.
If you're just meeting them, right? So there's still some trust building going on.
Yes. But Lisa, if you introduced me to one of your friends, I would say, oh, I love this person already because I love Lisa. She's great. And she's so trustworthy. She does amazing work. Of course I trust this new person. Mm-hmm. But if it's just a random person you meet at a mixture, you're probably like, I want to get some information about them. Do we know anybody in common? Have I heard of their business before? How they carry themselves and what they speak about is going to tell you a lot about whether you trust them. So the blogging is really an opportunity to build that trust gap, whether it's through the discovery process, whether it's an article you send to prospects after you have some kind of interaction, or maybe it's just a referral partner that you want to build trust with, even though they're never going to hire you, they might refer clients to you. Are there articles that you could send them to show, to build that trust and bridge that trust gap? So they're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to, connect people with Julia whenever they talk about social media, because I just know she does great work. So you can think of the content marketing that you do as a way to bridge that trust.
And I heard you say really putting the CTA, the call to action, in every single blog, whether it's just a subtle one, did you like this? Do you know someone who would benefit from this? Will you please share? To, would you like a free consultation, 30-minute consultation, and inviting them to the consultation. But I love the slower approach rather than just in your face.
Yes, we often want to just jump to getting paid. Who doesn't want to get paid, right?
Who should I send the invoice to?
Right. But the reality is it's just not going to work. And if you push too hard, that might be a turnoff to a lot of people. They really want to know that you're in it for building a long-term relationship, not for just getting paid, that you really love the work, that you really know about their industry, and that you've solved their problems. So the onus is really on the business to demonstrate that for the client. You want to, in addition to blogging content, you want to have things like case studies, success stories, testimonials, things that really prove your value that aren't coming from you, things that show you've worked. A very common question we get is, but have you worked with this industry before? Like, Have you worked with a doctor's office before? Have you worked in the collision industry? All these kinds of things. They want to know that you have a track record. So blogging can help create a sense of that track record by, you can cite past projects, you can link to your case studies in those blog posts. That's a great way to use blog content as
Hyperlinks
well.
back to previous blogs. You do recommend, how many do you recommend putting in the blog that you're putting out there for some of your past blogs, or even sort of linking out? What is sort of a number that you should stick by? Because I never know, is it like 1 or 2, or should you fit in as many as you can?
Yeah, so that's a great question that goes to linking, and backlinks are a really big part of SEO, which is very much enmeshed with SEO, with blogging. So the links out, like an external link to a website that is not yours, it depends on how many words your blog post is. So our general guiding is for every 600 words, we have about 1 external link.
Okay.
You also want to be, you want to be mindful of your internal linking strategy. So links within your website, right? So Lisa, you talked about, you link to other content on your website. Maybe your CTA is to read another one of your blog posts. You do want people to stay on your website until they contact you, or until they decide like, no, this isn't the company for me, which is fine too. So you want to think about having an internal link in each of your blog posts as well as in addition to the CTA at the bottom, which may be another internal link or may not. But say if somebody's reading a blog post about, I'm just looking at our SEO archive. So our most recent blog post on SEO was about an SEO audit, how to boost your web traffic with an explosive start. So within that blog post about SEO audits, we are going to link to some of our other articles on SEO and blogging and things like that. So you want to think about, well, if somebody's already interested in what SEO blogging can do for their sales, maybe they're also interested in how to do, the value of keyword research. And should I help them decide, should I really invest in keyword research? Or can I just kind of like tool around and kind of try to figure it out myself? So you want to think about your internal and your interlinking strategy as well.
That was super helpful. Thank you. I know we are coming up on the time. I'd love to ask, do you have any resources that you can suggest, whether it's one of your blogs, a book, or an article that you think would benefit to help people with their blogging?
Yeah, there are so many wonderful resources. After the live, I will post into the chat a link to all of our articles on SEO, including some of the ones that I've mentioned today. A great starting point, if you're looking to learn more about SEO, is Moz, MOZ.com. They are a very respected and long-standing resource for SEO. Of course, they sell all kinds of SEO tools, but there's a ton of free education, right? Just what I've been talking about. They offer a ton of free education to get you sucked in and realize like, wow, these folks really know what they're talking about.
And
so,
Moz is a plugin, right? Like a Chrome plugin.
It's a website, and they have a plugin as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So those are some helpful resources. And is now the time that we can talk about key takeaways, Lisa?
I was going to say, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to share? So
yeah.
absolutely.
So just to recap and sort of tie it in a neat bow at the end of our LinkedIn Live, which has been so fun. It's always fun to talk to you, Lisa. So think about the discovery phase. That's the beginning of a customer's buying journey. It's a really critical time to reach your target audience because they haven't made the decision yet about who they're going to buy from. Second takeaway, posting regular blog content is really going to help you insert your business into the conversation by answering those common questions that customers come to you, and also smoothing out any speed bumps that you hear customers often come across before they hire you or buy another solution. Really good quality blog content is helpful, but it's not pushy, right? You're thinking about educating your target audience and selling them on the benefits of working with you without a heavy sales pitch and without being like, how to do this, how to do that, right? This is not a how-to guide. It's a why. It's a why would you do this? What is the power of engaging with this kind of service or product? What are you going to get from it? Mm-hmm. And then lastly, regular blogging is just a fantastic way to increase your website traffic, bringing it up higher in search results. We see this repeatedly with clients when they are publishing high quality professional blog posts that have been optimized for SEO at least once a month, their traffic just goes up through the roof. It does take several months. SEO is a long-term strategy. You're not going to publish one blog post and see your traffic double the first month. It's look for impacts, but in months 6 to 12.
Oh, that is so helpful. So helpful.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And you got to be consistent.
Oh, that's right. Not like one every 6 months doesn't really cut it.
No,
Yeah,
it's
like duly noted,
it's
duly
really
noted.
best to publish about once a month. If you can publish more than once a month, then I'm going to send you a gold star.
Okay. I'm starting. I promise. I'm starting. I've been saying this January 1st, April 1st,
Yes.
June 1st.
Yeah.
But I
Hey,
do
let
know the
me be your
importance of it.
accountability partner, Lisa. I'd love to. I'll just send you a quick text once a month. What's it going to be?
We could go back and forth,
Yeah.
definitely. This has been awesome. As usual, you are so dynamic and so brilliant at what you do. So thank you so much for
Oh, thank
bringing
you so
all
much,
your
Lisa.
information. And
You
your
make it easy.
I love talking. I'm like, can't we just talk instead of doing a blog? That would be so much better. So
Yeah.
before we finish up, I just want to say next week, I'm going to be having the wonderful Lindsay Lathrop Ryan, who is a coach. She is an equity expert, diversity equity expert. She also is going to be talking about how to break out of the cycle of underselling ourselves. Who can go for that, right?
Sign me up.
Yeah, she is brilliant at it. She is so good. I'm super excited to be chatting with her next week. June 17th, noon East Coast time. I will be posting that. So please make sure that you register so you can get a reminder. And Julia, where can people reach out to you? Where can they find you?
Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn, Julia Scott, and also jscottmarketing.com. I would love to connect with you. And so if you send me a connection invite on LinkedIn, definitely mention that you saw this, you know Lisa, or you saw our LinkedIn Live, because I do get a lot of random requests.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Greatly appreciate it. And to all of you, to your success, whatever success is for you. Have a great day. Thanks. Thanks, Julia.
Thanks. Bye.